By 1931, Al Capone had reached the peak of his power. He faced virtually no serious competition among Chicago's gangsters and continued expanding his criminal network.
Sitting there with a group of investigators that couldn't find an elephant in a phone booth. Paying these people a lot of money. Results? Zilch, none.
Anticipating that Prohibition might eventually be repealed, he moved into controlling various labor unions, including those representing chauffeurs, plumbers, municipal employees, motion picture projectionists, soda vendors, and kosher poultry distributors. He even considered entering the dairy industry, reasoning that more people purchased milk than alcohol and that the profit margins were greater. As he once remarked, "Honest to God, we've been in the wrong racket all along." At the same time, Herbert Hoover remained firmly committed to imprisoning America's most notorious bootlegger by any means possible. The federal income tax was still relatively new, and many people struggled to understand its requirements. For criminals whose entire income was illegally obtained, filing a tax return would essentially mean confessing their crimes, informing the government that they had been engaged in bootlegging and declaring their illegal profits. When the Supreme Court of the United States ruled that income earned through illegal activities was still subject to taxation, it created widespread confusion among criminals. Many rushed to file tax returns, but Capone did not, nor did his brother Ralph. For 2 years, the government unsuccessfully attempted to construct a case against Capone. Hoover reportedly met with investigators who had produced no results despite significant funding, failing to charge Capone with gun offenses, murder, or bootlegging.
The first time he sat down with the IRS and tried to settle, he admitted that he hadn't paid his taxes all these years. He said, "I really didn't make a lot. I don't have a lot of money to claim. I've been just delivering beer, supplying beer."
Prosecutors believed tax evasion offered the best chance of conviction, but even that proved difficult. Capone had taken careful precautions. He kept no financial records, maintained no bank accounts, and owned no property in his own name except a Florida house registered under his wife's name. He conducted all transactions in cash and appeared to spend nearly as much as he earned, making it extremely difficult to demonstrate that he had taxable income. When Capone first met with the Internal Revenue Service to negotiate, he admitted he had not paid taxes for years but claimed his earnings were minimal. He insisted he had little money to declare, portraying himself merely as a beer distributor and even calling himself a public servant, suggesting he was providing a service for the people. On June 5, 1931, the United States government finally gathered enough evidence to charge Capone with 22 counts of income tax evasion. Capone's trial quickly became the biggest story of the year. Journalists from around the globe traveled to cover the proceedings. Hollywood actors attended, hoping to study Capone's mannerisms for future portrayals. James Cagney was present, and Damon Runyon came from New York to report on the case. Prominent reporters arrived in large numbers, and some even socialized with Capone in the evenings during the trial. Having successfully avoided conviction in the past, Capone likely believed this case would end no differently. His confidence seemed justified, as his associates had bribed or intimidated many individuals within the jury pool. However, at the last moment, the presiding judge discovered the scheme and replaced the compromised jurors with an entirely new panel. After a 10-day trial, on October 24, 1931, Capone received the harshest sentence ever imposed for tax evasion, 11 years in federal prison. The once powerful king of the gangsters was taken into custody, marking the dramatic downfall of the man known as Scarface. Public reaction in Chicago was largely unsympathetic, and few citizens mourned his imprisonment. Capone later admitted that excessive publicity had contributed to his downfall, saying it was ultimately his own fault. Many people believed justice had been served, feeling that society would benefit from his removal. Some observers within the legal profession argued, however, that he had been punished not for his primary crimes but because authorities found tax evasion the most practical way to imprison him for offenses they believed he had committed but could not prove. Despite Capone's incarceration and the government's extensive efforts, the supply of illegal alcohol flowing into Chicago continued uninterrupted, showing little to no decline.